यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदा यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना हे यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदा यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudhiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namaha Pankajanabhaya. Namaha Pankajamaline. Namaha Pankajanetraya. Namaste Pankajangriye. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody to today evening's class on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Today we are on chapter 2 and we'll be reading from verse number 16. Last time we did verse number 15. I think last week there was no class because we had all been to GB. Okay. Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah ubayorapi drishtontva tvanayastatvadarshibhi. Okay, would you like to repeat? Then I can read again. You can repeat after me. Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah ubayorapi drishtontva tvanayo tattvadarshibhi. Take the word for word meanings. Na, never. Asataha, of the non-existent. Vidyate, there is. Bhavaha, endurance. Na, never. Abhavaha, changing quality. Vidyate, there is. Sataha, of the eternal. Ubhayo, of the two. Api, verily. Drishtaha, observed. Antaha, conclusion. Tu, indeed. Anayoho, of them. Tattva, of the truth. Darshibhi, by the seers. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, that is the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Purport. There is no endurance of the changing body. That the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. There is the difference between matter and spirit. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and personalist. In the Vishnu Puran, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes all have self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotirmasi Vishnur Bhuvanani Vishnu. The words existent and non-existent refer only to spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of truth. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself, the difference between oneself and the Supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutras as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature. as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as the subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance, and to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome everybody. Today's verse, Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah ubhayoropi drushtontvah tanayo tvanayo tattvadarshimi. This actually speaks about the difference between matter and spirit. This is a very important subject matter to be understood, because the entire spectrum of spirituality can be well grasped and understood by a person if one understands this basic fundamental point. There is a difference between matter on the one hand and spirit on the other hand. Both are completely divergent in their nature. One is the opposite of the other, diametrically opposite. That is the nature of the two. So one has to understand what is matter and what is spirit. So, as I've told earlier also, matter is that, according to the general science textbook of standard 6th, you can go and check in your house. Matter is that which is susceptible to the senses, which comes under the grip of the senses, which can be caught by the senses. And how many senses do we have? Five. We have 5 senses. Panchendriya. And anything that comes within the grip of any of this is matter. Can you see air? Can you see air? But you can feel air. So it comes under the touch of the skin. So it is matter. But that which is beyond the scope of all the senses, that is spirit. We have got plenty of examples of matter. What is the example of spirit? example of spirit? No? Very simple. One is God. Can you see God? That is why people ask this question, show me God. By definition, the question is wrong. God is beyond material vision. That has to be understood. But He can reveal Himself if He chooses. That's a separate issue. And what is the other thing which is also on the category of spirit? You and me, we come under spirit. How? Not this body. The soul, Atma. That is spirit. That is why in medical science, if you see, any doctors here? So in medical science, you can get X-ray photographs done. You can get MRI done. You can get sonography done. But you cannot capture the soul in any of the films or the TV screen, because by nature it is beyond the senses. It cannot be seen, cannot be touched, cannot be heard, cannot be smelt. None of these things cannot be, none of these things. So therefore it is of a different dimension altogether. And that is why in the entire syllabus of MBBS there is no mention of soul. The complete anatomy is discussed from head to toe, but they discuss about the hair. Hair is a subject known as trichology. They have got so many books about hair, you can fill this room, entire room with that books of hair. But not one word about soul. Why? Cannot see it, so they leave it. But unfortunately, or fortunately, soul is the driving force in this entire world. Without the soul, can this body function? Without the driver, can the car function? So simple it is. So therefore, we cannot imagine life force without the soul. And since that is the nature of the soul, it is to be studied. The only book that studies the soul is the Bhagavad Gita. So in your entire college syllabus, university education, school education, you will not have any information about the soul, because the material scientists cannot touch it in any way. You cannot keep it on the table of the laboratory. You cannot hold it in your hand. You cannot replicate it. You cannot do anything with it. Therefore, they leave it. Therefore, that knowledge which excludes the soul is incomplete knowledge. Therefore, the knowledge we get in schools and colleges is only partial. It is not wrong. It is correct. But it is only partial. It is not complete. To complete it, you got to have spirituality. You got to have spiritual science, spiritual knowledge. And that is what the Bhagavad Gita is all about. And now we are coming to that verse, which discusses the difference between matter and spirit. Okay? So, it is mentioned here, yes, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, that is, what is considered as non-existent? This material body. Do you agree that this is non-existent? Difficult to agree, isn't it? We are existing, how can we say it's non-existent? But just see the far-sightedness of this science. It is non-existent because it cannot endure for a long time. How long can we live? If you come to this room after 100 years, will you meet any known people? So that is our span of life. We have got a limitation. This body has limitation. But Gita tells us, what dies is the body, the soul does not die. The soul continues to live. It will change the body. That is what we did. Dehi nosman yatha dehi. So now here it is explained that of the non-existent, that is of the material body, there is no endurance. And of the eternal, What is eternal? The soul, Atma. There is no change. It does not change. I'll give you one example. A 25-year-old boy wants to get married. So the parents discuss on both the sides, and the girls' party say, okay, send us the photo of the boy. We would like to have a look. So they send the photo of the child when he was 1 year old. Will it be acceptable? What will they say? Current. Give us the current photo. How does he look now? We want to see that. What has changed? The body has changed. What has not changed? The person is the same. So who is the person? Body or the soul? Soul is the person. But the soul does not change. Even when a person becomes 75 years of old, he says, I am the same one. I am the same one. You saw me when I was a 10-year-old boy. Today I am 75. I am still the same person. Isn't it? Is what he will say. But what is the difference? When you see him as a 10-year-old boy and when you see him as a 75-year-old man, do you think he will be the same? The body changes continuously. Soul never changes. That is the point. Thus, this they have concluded by studying the nature of both. So, there is no permanent existence of the material body, and that is described as asat. Sat means that which exists. Sat means existence. Satya. That is why, according to spiritual science, that which endures, which never fades away, which is eternally there, that is Sat. And that which will not endure for a long time, of a temporary nature, is known as Asat. The body changes every moment. Have we not studied in our high school science? The body is composed of cells. And what is the duration of each cell? What is the lifespan of each cell? 7 days. It lives only for 7 days. After 7 days, it will die, it will go away. That is why we need to eat food. The food that we eat is digested, it is turned into cells, tissues, and they replace the worn out cells. They replace the dead cells. This is how the body continuously changes. Even in the buildings that we live in, after 10-15 years, what do? Replastering. They break the whole plaster and they change. When it becomes 50-60 years old, they repair all the pillars and the beams. They put fresh cement over there, isn't it? So wear and tear is part of material nature. Not only living entities, even non-living entities, after some time, they become defunct. You have to change it. Old car, what happens? It gets rusted. This is the common practice in all things, all material things. It has to have an endurance limit. It has to have a limitation of life. Beyond that, it will not exist. That's it. The soul is not affected by the subtle body. Actually, we are living in 3 bodies. The outer body is what you see, the gross body. Within that, there is another body. What is that? The subtle body. The outer body is the gross body. The inner body is made of mind, intelligence and ego. MBA. Mind, intelligence, ego. Man, buddhi, ahankar. That is how it becomes MBA. So, but that is not seen. You cannot see it. Can you see the mind? Can you see the intelligence? Can you see the false ego? It is there. It's given in the Gita. And then within that is the soul. It is like coconut which has got a hard outer covering. You can touch it, you can feel it, it is hard. Hard nut to crack. And within that you have the pulp of the coconut. and within that you have the coconut water. Soul, subtle body, gross body. Okay? Now, this is the construction of our human body. All this is given in the Gita. So, the material body keeps changing, but the soul does not change. And there is one more point. How is the soul connected to the material body? There is a knot. The engine is like the soul. That is the source of energy. And the material body is like the bogie. What is there between the engine and the bogie? Coupling. There is a coupling, right? That connects the engine to the bogie. So when the engine goes, the bogie also goes, right? Similarly, the soul is connected to the body, and that connection between the soul and the body is known as granthi. That is the word given in the scriptures. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayah kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishware. This is a word from the Srimad Bhagavatam. There it is mentioned. Granthi means the knot, connection. So, because the soul is connected to the body by a knot, who puts the knot? Doctor? Father? Mother? God. It is in His control. He does it. He is the creator. He creates each one individually. He is the one who has made this arrangement. So He is the only one who can explain it. This is another important point to be understood. Spiritual science is not a matter of speculation, is not a matter for experimentation. It is a matter for absorption by oral reception. Kaan se suno. Oral reception. That is why the Vedic literature is known as Shruti Shastra. Shruti means, Shrota means audience. Shrotram means ear. And Shruti means the spoken word. So, the spoken word is conveying the message, is conveying the knowledge, coming from one who is in knowledge. Jnaninas tattva darshinaha. One who knows the truth, one who has seen the truth. Such a person will speak and the others will hear. This is the process of transmission of knowledge down the generations from time immemorial. That is why in India we have the process of pravachan. They have in every village, every town, every corner of the land. Any part of the country you go, you will find this. The question is not one of language. Question is not one of north, south, east, west. Everywhere it is there. It is through this culture has been maintained and propagated. And the knowledge has been passed from generation to generation. So this is a very important point to be noted about spirituality. Therefore, spirituality cannot be taught in schools and colleges because it has to come by one who is eager to learn and one who is qualified to teach. Both the qualifications are required. The speaker and the seeker, both are important and they have their role to play. And then what happens in between the two? When the speaker speaks and the seeker is eager to receive, who comes in between? God personally comes in between. He is the one who infuses the knowledge into the heart of the listener. And there the knowledge is revealed. That is, the word is given, Jnana Deepena Bhasvatam, igniting the light of knowledge within the heart. Jnana Deep. Bhasvata means it is ignited within the heart. There is knowledge. Knowledge is compared to light, ignorance is compared to darkness. So when this knowledge is transmitted in this way, then the person, depending upon his intensity of seeking, begins to understand. He begins to register. And that comes by the mercy of the Lord. There is a shloka for that also in the 15th chapter. That is, He says, Mataha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna says, I am sitting as the Paramatma within the heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So he operates the wall. There is a three-way wall he has got, and he will operate it, depending upon what the seeker is interested in. He's not interested in listening, apohanam. Third button pe dal diya. He wants to know smriti, he wants to remember, put it in first. Jnanam, he wants to understand, number two, knowledge mil jata hai. It is operated from inside. So understand that in acquiring knowledge, there is active participation of the Paramatma, the Lord within the heart. It is not an external activity, it is an internal activity. Therefore, this spirituality is very special. You have to understand, it is not a mechanical process. You read the book and you understand. Even for material knowledge, you cannot just read the book and you qualify. Can anybody just read the book and become a doctor? You need to go and study under a doctor, work under a doctor. You got to learn the nuances of the art and the subject matter from them. They will explain to you what it is. From their experience, they will teach you. That is how the knowledge percolates from one who is teaching to one who is learning. So material science cannot accept the existence of the soul because you cannot see it. And another aspect is, material science always needs measurement. It wants to be quantified. Quantity. They want a formula. Itna liya, utna joda, kitna hua. They want 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. But spiritual science is qualification. It is not quantification. That's the difference between the two. You cannot measure the soul. In the next verse, we will come to the measurement of the soul also. That is something very interesting. Maybe today we may not be able to deal with it. Next time we may deal with it. That is very, very interesting. You will wonder how they measure it. So there you have to understand, any knowledge about the soul has to be accepted on the basis of faith. Faith is a greater faculty in the human system than intelligence. Please try to understand. Intelligence is like a car. When you drive a car, you can go at the most to the shore of the ocean. Can you go into the ocean with the car? You cannot. That is the limitation of the car. It cannot go into the ocean. It is designed to run on land. So if you have to cross the ocean, what do you need? You need a boat or you need a flight, one of the two. But you cannot with the car. Similarly, certain things, material science, you can understand with intelligence. But spiritual science is like the ocean. To know, to understand that, you need evam jnana plave naiva vrajinam santam tarishyasi. That is given in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Evam jnana plave naiva. Plava means boat. The boat of knowledge. Sitting on that boat of knowledge, you can cross over the ocean of material existence and go to the shore of spirituality. Go to the spiritual abode, the kingdom of God, where God is waiting to receive all of us. He says, come to me. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. He says in the 15th chapter, he says, in my abode, there is no sun, there is no moon, there is no electricity, there is no light. No, there is no fire. Then where do you get brightness? Everything is self-illuminated. Everything is getting light from inside. There is no darkness over there. Here we need light because there is darkness. There is no darkness. It is a place full of knowledge. It's a place full of light. That is the beauty of the spiritual world. It says, come to my abode. Yad gatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Having once come there, you will never come back here. All of you are living in the city. Can you go and settle in the village? Those who go to US will not come back. They will settle there only. Am I right? Why? Better facilities, more comforts, better life, right? So he's inviting us, advertising, come to my abode. I am waiting for you. And how to come? He says, chant my holy name. Anyway, we'll come to that afterwards. So anyway, so this knot is there. So there is a connection between the soul and matter. Only God can put that knot, and only He can undo that knot. That is beyond the scope of human efforts, intelligence or ability. So that is where there's a difference between God and man. You should understand that. Bhagwan और इंसान दोनों में अंतर है. भगवान सर्वशक्तिमान, इंसान दुर्बल. He cannot match God. Okay. So now, but then, how to get that faith, to understand this spirituality, how to gain that faith? By following simple process, simple rules. That is known as leading a pious life. Doing the things which the scriptures say are right to be done and which the scriptures say don't do, you must avoid those things. Chori karo, sahi hai, galat hai? Right or wrong? So the scriptures say that you cannot rob, you cannot thief, you cannot steal from anybody. So like that, you follow these simple rules, and these simple rules will gradually give you a level of piety, piousness. And then what happens with that? Gradually, you begin to qualify. That is known as Sukriti. And when you get that Sukriti, that qualification, then gradually that little bit of faith comes in it. How to understand this little bit of faith? That is known as Adav Shraddha. Beginning, a little bit of faith is required at the beginning. With the help of that, you can climb up the whole structure. What happens in the buildings? There is a suction tank below, water comes, it is stored in the tank underground. Then there is a pump and there is a tank on the terrace, right? So the watchman comes and starts that pump on the ground. But can this pump work on its own? A little bit of water is required in it. If it is fully dry, it will be burnt. A little bit of water has to be put in the pump in the first place. That is initial water. How do you start the car? The car needs a little push. But how do you push the car? Earlier, not now, maybe in 1950s, 1960s, there used to be something like a crank. They used to turn it like this and the car will sputter into motion. It will come in, that sound will come. Pat, 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 that sound will come. So then later on that was replaced by battery. They put a battery. You have a self-starter. When you give the starter, the current from the battery flows and that pushes the engine wheel. That is, the initial push has to be given. And then it begins to generate power by itself. Then the whole process starts, and the crankshaft and so many flywheel and so many other things. All these are components in the car. And then they take over and the whole process goes smooth. Then there is no problem. But the initial push is there. Similarly for us also, that initial faith is very important. We need to have that faith. The nature of the soul is, it is always happy. Soul is eternal. That is why nobody wants to die. Does anybody like to die? Forget a human being, even a worm doesn't want to die. So why? Because of the nature of the soul. But the body is perishable, so it is inevitable. That is why it is given in this verse. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. So those who know the nature of the two, they have understood and they are the seers of the truth. Okay? So one who is able to see the distinction between the body and the soul is able to take proper decisions, because he understands what is inevitable cannot be avoided. And what is the nature of the soul? If you try to live on the platform of the soul, you are becoming a success in your life. Success in life does not depend on earning more money. Otherwise, all rich people would be happy, no? Are all rich people happy? Are all poor people sad? There are some other factors that come in between, and that is what the soul, spirituality, God, religion, all these factors, they come in between. So therefore, when you take everything into account, then the total picture changes. If one is only on the platform of the body, there is always lamentation and bewilderment. Bewilderment means vichlit hona, and lamentation means shok karna. So this is a common factor with people who do not understand the soul and who are not connected to God. So when one is connected to God, because God is super soul and we are spirit souls, that's the difference. We are minute, we are infinitesimal, God is infinite. That's the difference between the two. So we cannot be equal to God, but qualitatively we are the same. God is also spirit, we are also spirit. We means not the body, the soul. That is our true identity. This is the first thing that Krishna is speaking to Arjun when Arjun is bewildered. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't tell him, Arjun, come on, be a good boy, do like this, do like that. No. Krishna is telling, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jaratata dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana muhyati. ये क्या है? What are you telling me? Fighting की बात हो रही है, ये तो body and soul की बात कर रहे हैं. Says everything begins from there. First, understand your true nature. Understand who are you. Understand your true self. And then deal with the world outside. So that is the nature of this, fundamental nature of this knowledge. It's very important. And therefore, this was common, standard, basic knowledge given to the population right from childhood all over the country. This system was broken by the British time. They made it that this has to be banned. Gurukul system was banned. And they introduced English language education and everything. So all changes took place. Now, by the mercy of the Lord, this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita has become international. How? Prabhupada, a true representative of the Lord, internalized the knowledge of the Gita, and because he internalized the knowledge, he was able to internationalize this knowledge. Today, these temples are there all over the world, in every country. Prithvi te ache adi nagaradi gram sarvatra prachara hoibe mora naam. This was the Bhavishyavani given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. All towns, villages will chant my names and this knowledge will be spread all over. And Prabhupada was the instrument through whom Krishna achieved this goal. And we are indebted to him. He translated it into English because it is an international link language. And therefore, it has spread like wildfire all over the world. And that is why we are able to discuss. We are also talking in English today. We have got nothing against the language. But what we should understand is the subject. That's important. Another important fact I will tell you, which is very, very significant and interesting. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he went to US. He was invited to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, very renowned institute, known for its advancement of knowledge the world over. And there, they invited him for the convocation. So he was there. And they took him around the entire campus and showed him all the departments of knowledge, all the faculties that they have. And they said, we have covered everything under the sun. So he came to the stage to speak, to address the convocation. And he said, your professors took me around the whole campus. But there's one department of knowledge which I am looking for and I did not find it here. They said, what is that? What is that which makes a difference between a sleeping man and a dead man? What is it that makes a difference between a sleeping man and a dead man? Sleeping man is also motionless. Even if you call him, he will not get up. He is fast asleep. And a dead man is also motionless. What is the difference? Soul. The dead man, that body, there is no soul. The soul has left the body. And the sleeping man, the soul is still there. He will get up, he will go around, and he will do his activities. So, the soul is the living force. It is known as Chaitanya Shakti. That is the word for it. Chaitanya Shakti means the living force. And it is this Chaitanya Shakti which is actually running the whole world. The living beings are running the whole world. What is the use of having machines only? The machines have to be run by a human being, by a living entity. You may have the most sophisticated car, but without a driver it is useless. Even if you have a driverless car, which is coming nowadays, there still has to be remote control. There is somebody who has to be in control of the car. Otherwise it cannot function. Our living force is absolutely essential, and that living force is God, and every living soul is also a part and parcel of that same God. So that is the knowledge of spirit, and anything to do with spirit is spirituality. And anything to do with matter is material. So this is what Prabhupada explained. I think now it's time for Kirtan, so I think it's time for us to stop. Is there any question? Just a short. If anybody has any questions, we can take it up. Yeah. Mike.
Hare Krishna. Excellent explanation about the material body, spiritual body, and also you mentioned about the speaker and the seeker. Now, in our earlier deliberation, you mentioned one very important thing about the Arjuna. Now, also you mentioned that Arjuna, he refused to fight. But in earlier this thing, you mentioned that Arjuna was so furious, so angry, he wanted to kill everybody. Because at the time of, Draupadi was being derobed. But the same Arjuna, when he comes to the battlefield, Kurukshetra, he refuses to fight. Kill. In fact, kill. Arjuna wanted to kill everybody at the courtyard of the king. But here he refuses to. He says, no, I don't want to kill, I don't want to earn this thing. But there, Yudhishthira, Darbaraja has to calm him down. No, there's time. So, for us, the common man, can you please explain, why this difference? Yes. Why this, lip between the slip, the
cup
between
and
this, cup and slip.
Yeah, so it is like this. We mentioned that point. Bewilderment and what do you call it? Shok. Shok means So these two things are there when you are on the platform of the body. Arjuna, on the platform of the body, he was angry. On the platform of the body, now he is bewildered. Vichlit hua hai. And lamentation. Lamentation means shok karna. So now he says, I don't want this kingdom at the cost of killing my own cousins. I don't want this kingdom at the cost of killing my own guru. I don't want this kingdom at the cost of killing my own grandfather, Bhishma. So he is again considering the bodily connections. So long as you think on the level of the body, you will take wrong decisions. But when you look at it from the platform of the soul, the eternal soul, which is a part and parcel of God, looking from out of the box, then what happens? Then the whole situation changes. Krishna explains, Bhishma is bound by his pratigya. And his pratigya is to protect the throne, whoever sits on the throne. And now Duryodhana is sitting on the throne. And what is he doing? He is siding with adharma. So now Bhishma is supporting adharma. And you are a Kshatriya, you have to defend dharma. So if you are defending dharma, you have to fight against adharma. Don't look at the body. Understand that even if you kill the body of Bhishma, Bhishma will not die because he is the soul. Soul never dies. This is what he is teaching. This is what the teaching of the Gita is. Look at the eternal factors. Do not be deluded by the temporary, illusory factors. This is what it is. Rise above illusion. Come to knowledge. Come to light. Connect to God. and be aware of your soul and your true identity. So this is how the whole picture turns up. And we are bewildered in our life because, again, we get caught up in this illusory network. And then we get entangled in this. So the way to come out, that was a shloka which I didn't mention today, but Dukheshu Anudvidamana, because Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. So all these things are mentioned. Sitadir Muniruchyate. So one who is in balanced, perfect knowledge, that person will not get intoxicated. One who is intoxicated, he is not sober. Right? But one who is not intoxicated is sober. So on the bodily platform, people are intoxicated. That is why they are not able to take proper decisions. But on the platform of the soul, they are sober. And they are able to see things clearly. So we have to train to do that. It doesn't happen in one day. Lifetimes of our illusionment cannot come out in one day. So we have to train under a guru and train in the association of devotees. It is a lifetime effort. And when you do that, then you will make progress. And Krishna can pull you up. Ultimately, he is the one who can make the change for us. But we have to qualify for his mercy and his grace. That is the process. Okay? I think we will stop here today. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. Hare.
हरे कृष्ण। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
दर्शन में ना एक ही कथन बनता है और इससे ज़्यादा नहीं होता है, इससे आपका ज़्यादा हो रहा है।
कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
नहीं अभी सेटअप कर लेना।
हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
तो 5 मिनट गए 5 मिनट गए बाद में लगा देते
हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम Krishna, Hare Hare. आप इधर आए.
हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.